Good afternoon and welcome to our second talk of the series through connecting and securing the enterprise for DreamCon 2020. Today I'm joined by Jason Eggers from Glances and CTO of DreamFactory, Jason Gilmore. And today we're going to be discussing the benefits of having a unified enterprise view of all your applications under the one platform and what connections your staff really need at the front end to be able to have a single source of truth and a secure source of truth across multiple applications. Glances and DreamFactory have partnered now for about 6 months, and we've started to see continued success in clients wanting to see the essential data in a single unified pane, and more importantly, access that essential data easily and through low code to no code integrations. Jason, I'll hand over to you to kick off the presentation.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And what we found, a little background about us at Pinnacle Labs here, we've been doing integrations for near 15 years. And we found, not just with ourselves, but our clients, that there was a lot of challenges of moving data back and forth, and a lot of touch points that were, integrations break, but also the security issues, right? So being able to securely move that data back and forth, and the right people have the right access to the data and not the people that shouldn't have access. So what we ended up doing is rethinking how integration should work and really asking the question, why are we integrating the data? And what we found talking with our customers, our clients, is that they didn't actually need the data in the system that they're working from. They needed it available. So they needed to have the right data at the right time to make the right decisions. And to do that in a way that was much more low touch. In fact, we were able to create a no-code platform to do this. We were able to make it very secure, where data is not moving around anymore and being stored in a dozen, 2 dozen different systems. You have your data that lives in its single source of truth in whatever system that it's coming from, but it's always available to you at your fingertips. And the big reason why we did this too is we found a lot of businesses use dozens of applications. We use probably 15 internally, CRM system, marketing platform, email, accounting, and the list goes on, and even some custom internal applications. And I want to touch on that later, because DreamFactory is a big part of being able to access those internal systems that we have. And we do eat our own dog food here. But going back to, you have all these systems, it's hard to handle those systems on a daily basis in your workflow. You say you're working on an issue, something comes in through your email. All right, this person's asking about a support issue. You have to flip over now to your support system, but then you have to also go to your CRM system to see what support plan are they on, or what products do they have. And so you're switching back and forth, and it causes lots of time lag and inefficiencies. And not only that, there's a lot higher chance of errors happening. The more you have to copy paste, the more data entry you have to do to find the right solution, the more mistakes you make, the longer it takes to get the job done. In fact, there's a study done by Pegasystems where they analyze over 5 million hours of workplace data across 35 different businesses. And they found a typical workplace that a user in a typical month uses 90 different applications. And I think that's pretty liberal, what they define as an application. That seems really high. I don't know about you guys, but that seems high to me. Yeah. But what they really found, what the important part was, is every day they have to switch 1,100 times between different tabs to get the data they need. And when you think about the seconds that each of those switches takes and the context switching you have to do mentally, that adds up really fast. It takes you off your focus, and you can't get the job done as quick as you can.
So I'd suggest with a growing business, it's almost as if that application stack and the number of applications, it grows without noticing, and then it becomes to the point where you actually reflect on how much time is spent moving between applications as opposed to being in an application. And that's probably the danger there too, right? It builds up in the background without you even realizing.
Absolutely, exactly. And so what we set out to do is create a single way to view that data at any point in time, no matter where you're using it. And you don't have to be in the application to use it. You could be on a website, and all of a sudden, hey, I just realized I need to look up something on LinkedIn. I want to see if they're in our system, and you can now pull it up instantly without having to switch between everybody, all different applications. So I'm going to bring up, if this works for you guys, the actual application, just the right. Customer view, and switch over there. And as you can see, I use tons of tabs, and this is how I worked before Glances. So I'm kind of stuck in this right now, but we have tabs open for a lot of our applications we use. Intercom for our chat, we use MailChimp for marketing, Sugar for CRM, and a host of different apps. I'm going to bring up, and exit out of this. There we go. So I mentioned email. This is how I use Glances every day, and my team uses Glances. We also have our own marketplaces where we sell things from our parent company, our sister company, and we might get an email that comes in from somebody who needs a support issue resolved. So what Glances does, there's a lot of different ways Glances works. I'll get into that, but it'll stamp your email addresses on the page automatically. And when you click on that stamp, this is where the magic happens. It's going across all your connected applications and finding everything about Jill at Fanatical Labs. And it's finding a number of good matches. So once we find a match, we can click on that. And now we have our single customer view that has everything we know about Jill across all our systems. So I don't need to go around searching Intercom for any conversations. I don't need to search Zendesk tickets for, log into Zendesk. Now I got to do a search for it. Now I got to bring it up. It's all at my fingertips right now, where I can now reply this email instantly, or I can dig into this by clicking into a Zendesk ticket, getting more information. And then if I need even more than that, or I want to respond in Zendesk instead of email, I can click right from my single customer view right into Zendesk. Pull that up and get all my information here. And Glances follows me wherever I am. So now I'm in my support desk. Again, it stamps everything that's on the page that's relevant that Glancy has found. Glancy is our persona, that our helpful person that is out there trying to help us get the information we need when we want it. And again, if I click on it, we're going to live demo time is what we're doing here. We can also search by name as well, not just email address. So you can search by account name, person name. And now I'm still working through my workflow. So in this case, I want to know, say, what invoices does Jill have open right now? I can see QuickBooks, right? And get all this information at my fingertips. What do you guys usually use internally for you guys, Luke, for your systems?
Yeah. So we've got obviously our CRM with Pipedrive. We have Pipedrive as our core CRM. Like you mentioned, for email marketing, we have Autopilot. We have Intercom. We've got Zapier as an integration sort of back end as well. We've got a few other user-based platforms on the front end. Meet Edgar is another social media scheduling tool. So yeah, with regards to individual data like that, I think they're the primary ones we'd look to move across. But yeah, Intercom's definitely one of the more popular ones. Yeah.
Absolutely, and those, it's very, very typical from what we've seen too from our other clients too. Pipedrive is a very popular one that we see people using Glances for, so that's definitely good.
Sorry, Jason, with the search there too, we just say we are talking on enterprise scale, and I've got a large list of employees. We'd obviously get the list of rough match until the point in time we have a specific match to look up the person we're searching for. You mentioned you don't have to just use email; you can use name as well, obviously.
Absolutely, and I mentioned that this is a browser extension. Works across Safari, Firefox, and Google Chrome, but it also works in other platforms. For example, MS Teams or Slack. If I were to pull up Slack, and I'm working with my team on a new lead that just came in, and we process leads through our different Slack channel, we can see really quick, do we have that lead in our system? And just by typing up this works the same in MS Teams, typing up, again, Jill Mahomes, that's kind of my favorite go-to. It's doing the same thing as the web browser, where it's going across all your connected applications and finding any Jill Mahomes out there. And now that it made that match, it's presenting me all the information we have about Jill across all our different systems, saving me tons of time where I don't need to go and log into each one and get that information, allowing us to process leads more quickly, right? So Slack, MS Teams is another way of using it. You can also use it. We got a desktop app coming out. So you can do on Mac OS X or Windows, do a Control-Shift-E and just start typing a name, and it's going to pop up with the same type of stuff you see here. But what's nice about that, it allows you to work in the workflow you prefer every day, right?
Yeah.
So at all,
that's absolutely the benefit of something like that in Slack, is being able just to, in the same conversation, in the same breath, you don't have to get out of that screen, right? It's
right.
just straight there. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and it's giving you that single customer view you need, at any point in time. And another big powerful part about this, Luke, is it saves on licensing costs as well. So you might have, at least for us, we have folks who don't need to be in an accounting system in QuickBooks. We have some folks who don't need to be in our CRM system. Well, we can have our CRM connected and not have to have a license for some folks who don't need that edit access. They just need to have a read-only access. And that could potentially save, and for us, it saves us thousands of dollars a year. For a bigger company with hundreds, thousands of employees, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars a year saved. So there's lots of ways to save money there. And we do this, going back to security, we're doing this in a way where no data gets stored anywhere along the way. So all we do is we facilitate the connections to the different applications you use and pipe that data to you wherever you're using it, whether it's the browser extension or Slack or the desktop app. It presents the data and just passes it through and it's gone. Nothing ever gets stored at any point here. And it's always real-time, fresh data. As far as where should we go from here? Breaking up.
Yeah, so I'd love to go through and see, I guess, what would a typical integration stack look like? We looked at some of the integrations you've got there, but would you suggest that some of the your larger clients are seeing the desire to connect sort of Salesforce with Zendesk with MailChimp, or is it have you got a standard sort of deployment, or you really see some sort of the ability of Glances is to customize that deployment?
Yeah, what we always tell folks, and this is based off our experience, we find that people should use the best of breed approach. They should use the tools that is best for them. Right? CRMs tend to be really good at the CRM side, but not the email side, not the marketing side, not live chat. Now they might have some components that does that, but it's usually gets you 80% of the way there and not as far as you'd like to get, right? So what we tell folks is, use your preferred stack and Glances will work with you. And what's nice about that is if you decide to change your mind, if you decide to swap chat out, you don't like Intercom for a reason, which I wouldn't get because I love Intercom. If you decide to swap that out, you're not having to redevelop a new integration with a new chat platform. You just connect it with Glances and it's available to you immediately. So you're not locked down with that time and money investment of having that integration built and being maintained. So to your point, once you sign for Glances, you can quickly go and decide which apps you use. And we have a number of apps to start off with here, and we have built a system that allows us to add new apps really quickly. And we're doing that for our clients today, where they have custom apps or apps not yet supported. We can spin these up in half a day now. We have a nice no-code system that gets that done. And some of that is thankfully due to DreamFactory and what you guys provide. Our partnership has been great for our clients, where they can spin up instances of their own internal system they might have. They might have a project management system that they cobbled together, or they got a system from 1980 that's still running, but the API just doesn't work with what's available today, right? But DreamFactory is giving those folks the power to connect and integrate, get that single customer view with Glances now. So the typical stack.
Do you want to talk us through? Do you want to just talk us through how to establish an integration and what it looks like in the Glances? I know we've gone through what it looks like once it's established, but do we want to go through from sort of start to finish, establishing a new integration?
Yeah, sure. And I'm not going to actually log in, but it's going to be this simple. Once you get in the Glances, this is the admin side. This is the person who's going to set up the Glances for you. And once you're logged in, you're going to go to an apps page and decide which apps you use in your business. And so you might decide you might use Freshdesk. That's a popular one with CRM out there. And all you have to do, if you're familiar with OAuth integrations, all you have to do is click on Connect, and it's going to prompt you for the information that you need. Now, some systems use API keys, very popular way of securely connecting to another app, like Freshdesk does here, where you just need 2 pieces of information. Some use OAuth, where you just enter a username, password, and use an OAuth handshake technique to create that connection. And once you create that connection and hit save or connect, it's going to go ahead and connect them, but also create the glance views for you. Now, what glance views are, if you go back to this view here, glance views, you have two different ways that we typically present data today. And this is, we can do more beyond this, but a list view where, hey, this is the high level data that we need to know right away in front of our face. This is the most useful data for us. But there's also a detailed view of the record. So you can drill down and see even more data that you need. So you can kind of control what is it you want available to your users, but also if they need to have more data, you can go ahead and let them just directly link over to the actual application. So how you manage that in the Glances side is once you have that connection there, you'll be able to go to a Glances page here where you're going to be able to define your Glances views. And it's as simple as drag and drop, really. You're going to have a selection of fields that are automatically made available to you. We're going to create some fields for you that are most common, but you can say, okay, for us, we don't really use priority in intercom, so we're going to go ahead and remove that. But I do want to know what, was the message open? Did they actually read the intercom conversation? Maybe that's important to us. And I can drag that there, hit done, and it automatically updates our views. So really it's drag and drop, no code, just absolutely no code needed on the user side for that. It's really that simple. And we have this, you'll see the DreamFactory icon here. We have, if you don't mind, can I talk about this a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So one of our businesses that we run it's called Sugar Outfitters, and it's a marketplace for integrations and for add-ons for Sugar CRM, which is why we use that. Another great option, again, a popular one for us is Salesforce. But Sugar Outfitters, we create our own marketplace at sugaroutfitters.com, and it's not built off of any platform out there. So it doesn't have an API available at all. So what we did is we used DreamFactory, and it honestly took 5 minutes. We started a stopwatch. It took 5 minutes to connect DreamFactory to Sugar Outfitters and make it available to Glances. It's super, super powerful. And what that allows us to do then is be able to say, okay, these are the, we have our data structure within our Sugar Outfitters database, and we're able to make that available through the API that DreamFactory creates, and we're able to get the stuff we care about. So, what product did they buy? What plan are they on? How often does that plan renew? Is it monthly or yearly? So that's the stuff we care about, first and foremost. And then we drill down to other stuff that matters to our customers. We often need their license key, and so that we can look up, see how, are they active with their subscription? Are they paid?
Yeah.
Right? Has it expired? Have we refunded them in the past? That matters, because if we refunded and something doesn't work anymore, it's they don't have an active subscription. So to show what that looks like, it looks just like any other glance view out there. So we can't tell, hey, this Sugar Outfitters, it doesn't have its own API at all. It does now through DreamFactory. It looks just like anything else out there. So we have the order number available. We can see everything we need to see about this purchase here. And again, if we need this more information, we're able to do a direct link into our custom application, our internal application, to do more administrative tasks. Now, this just Jill Mahomes is a bad customer for us, as you can see. Never actually converted and never paid for product. But yeah, this is what I'm excited about with DreamFactory and Glances, is that when we create Glances, we want to make it super simple for someone to get value out of connecting their applications as soon as possible, right? So when I show you how easy it was to connect to an app, it really is that fast. Our next step was, how do we solve that problem? Because both myself and my co-founder come from a internal systems background, where we were in charge of dozens of internal apps at our companies we used to work for. And we had a good handful that were internal apps with no API. And so, and knowing our clients had the same situations, how do we make that power available to the folks who need that data in their own internal systems that don't have an API? Yeah. And when we found you guys, or you guys found us, I forget which way it went, but within minutes, because we saw, hey, this is a solution here. DreamFactory, we're able to do just what we do with a normal app and connect within minutes and have everything available, which is just like, to me, 5 years ago, this is a pipe dream. This is not possible at all. So,
and I think
super excited about.
if we just reinforce that workflow there too, Jason, in the sense that, DreamFactory is able to use nothing more than, say, database credentials, or in this case, with the connection to the sugar outfitters, spin up that standardized secure API in a few minutes, like you said, less than 5 minutes before it was actually connected and integrated with Glances. And the beauty of that is that, and I'm not sure how much customization you went into prior to connecting, but being able to customize that API into users, roles, and then really customize what information Sugar Outfitters is able to expose via that connected API, right? So you can actually get into a really high level of fidelity as you're creating that auto-generated API. And then when you're presenting it through to Glances, that view is going to be customized and specific to the person that needs to see that information, right? And again, it's all happened in under 5 minutes.
Exactly. It's the power of that. And, back when I used to do the internal systems manage that, we didn't have a lot of time, just like a lot of us don't have time now. So usually this sort of stuff, you would have to create a project, get a project team involved, and find a way, spec out what is it you want, and go through all the back and forth of, okay, now we're going to create it. Now we got to test it. But that's all blown away with this stuff. Now within minutes, we were able to spin it up, right? And just put our information here, what we're creating, and connect it to a MySQL database, and then go over to our schema and figure out what exactly from our Sugar Outfitters database we want to make available.
Sorry, Jason. We might just confirm for those playing at home. We're now into the DreamFactory interface here,
Yes.
and what you were showing there was the actual front end UI to create an API. And as you could see, it was a simple matter of database credentials, and at that point in time, the service has been created for you to then customize the view.
Exactly right. Yeah. So looking at the DreamFactory side, definitely not the Glances side here, we're able to quickly just, here's our database. What do we want to show? And in this case, how we use it is we just created a view to make it even simpler on our side, and create a view that exposes the fields we need available to us. And it just worked. It was magic, right? So now we're able to use that. My support team on the Sugar Outfitter side, they use this on a daily basis where they can log in and they process emails all day or intercom chats, and they just click Glances and they can see exactly where they stand. So hey, I need help with such product, or hey, I just need help. Well, we sell 500 products. We don't know what they need help with, but we click Glances, boom, it's right there. Saves tons of time. Keeps our support costs down because they can process more support cases in a short amount of time. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I think we've really sort of led into that. How DreamFactory and Glances works together in that space. And if we get back to that instant, or that really rapid no code implementation, adding another database integration to the back end of DreamFactory to presenting Glances is again another 5-minute task. So what you've just been able to do is not only accelerate, well, from a DreamFactory perspective, we always push, accelerate app delivery. What we're doing via Glances now is accelerating availability of essential information, right? And that's really the critical benefit on the front end, is that if you are taking on a new system, if you are integrating a new app, if you are merging with another entity and you need to take on some legacy systems, the ability of DreamFactory to quickly spin up that API backend to present to something like Glances is obviously going to be of huge benefit to both time and cost. The fact that it is also in a low code interface, very point and click, means that you don't necessarily need to be spending high level technical resources time on creating those base level integrations. What may have previously been seen to be, in the realm of, hand coding connections or customizing connections via code, we're now able to do it pretty rapidly, pretty instantly, with two sort of platforms that work really well together.
Exactly. And the power of this now is available to any professional. It doesn't matter what role it is that you are, you need data, and be able to have that data that you need from across your systems, including those that normally you wouldn't have access to through an API. You now get that data available to you wherever you are, in your email, on your desktop. If you're on a LinkedIn.com or just a random web page, you can just pull up Glances and it's going to show you relevant information whenever you need it, saving you tons of time. And again, I mentioned pipe dream. This is all a pipe dream just several years ago, and now it's a reality. And the whole idea of a single customer view has always been ubiquitous, but also like far-fetched. It's never quite, we can never quite get there. But with all the components we have here today, we can get that single customer view, and in fact, it's here today, available to us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's the important thing. I think if we think back to the very start of our conversation today, we mentioned if we look at the emergence of the number of applications an individual user uses and participates in, take a step back and look at the general application marketplace, or even the SaaS space. SaaS products are so easy to access now and to jump on board with and subscribe to, and all of a sudden they become embedded in your organization. You need a tool to be able to, one, keep track of the number of SaaS applications you're running across the enterprise. Two, that you can actually customize and get the benefit out of those applications to the people that need it the most. And I think that's what it really boils down to, is being able to, and like you mentioned, if you're only giving read access to a portion of an application, then that's just as important as having the ability to edit it in the back end, right? You can present that information that's essential to that frontline worker, and only that person. You can customize that view, but at the same time, you can have a look across the entire enterprise, and it scales with the enterprise and it scales with the number of applications, right? Each integration is just the next step up, and you do the same thing again to present that essential information. So I feel like that's an important point as well, is the scalability. It's not just a matter of having your CRM and your automated marketing emails go out and seeing that in a pane. It's being able to scale out across an enterprise and have a whole host of applications in that one view.
Exactly right. And so sum that up too, kind of what you're touching on here is having this all available to you, it just makes you more efficient, right? So you're stopping your tab switching, where you don't have to go around switching tabs, but because that data is always available. And what's really exciting about that is now that it's there, we have the ability to get you even more efficient. So now the next step, we have not talked about this yet, Luke, but the next step beyond this is, what do you do to start the day? When I start the day, I have to go through 4 or 5 different systems to see, hey, what are my new emails? What are my to-do tasks today? So we use Asana internally for our project management. What tasks are due today or tomorrow? What did not get done yesterday? What are my meetings? What are my calls? Well, now we have this ability to connect to all these systems. That's what we're coming out next with, is Glance is a dashboard for you, the user, that tells you everything you need to know right now where you are today. And so now it's not just a single customer view, it's a productivity tool where you're able to always be on top of whatever you're working on and not let stuff slip through the cracks. I'm horrible at that. I let things slip all the time. And having it here in one spot is a huge game changer to me.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a big next step for sure. Yeah, being able to elevate it away from customer view and actually have it as internal management, then that would be hugely beneficial, no doubt. And this is something Glances is working on in the short term?
Absolutely. It'll be coming out in the next few months here. We're working hard on now, and we're super excited about how this is going to change how each and every one of us work on a daily basis. And again, just be able to make sure things don't slip through the crack. Like I get hundreds of emails a day, just like everybody else. And be able to manage all that stuff is just too much. But if you have something that just tells you, hey, this is the stuff you need to work on right now. Hey, just log in and I know what to do now. Now I can start my day to become more efficient and get more done.
Yeah, great. And look, Jason, before we wrap up, I think we've got into the idea of connecting the enterprise across the board now through these applications. Security is obviously extremely important when we're talking access to sensitive data, the ability to access certain types of data by certain groups. DreamFactory on the back end, we never release an API public until it's been secured. So you can generate the Rapid API. You can then customize the security access controls via role-based access control. You can then add the additional authentication layer, like you mentioned, Active Directory, OAuth, Okta, SAML, all those sort of integration layers. And only then do we then present the API to be consumed after it's been secured and customized. How does Glances address security and enable enterprise security, which is obviously important to everyone?
Right, and the big one that we get asked about all the time, not just United States but Europe, is where does the data live? And we don't store data ever throughout the Glances infrastructure. We're just passing data through. We're using the latest SSL protocols for that. We do need to store connection information. So we make sure that that's encrypted on our servers. However, you can quickly disable those connections anytime you need to. So it's not exposed at all to whoever might have access to view those glances. But again, only people who are in your team in glances, you can invite team members, your fellow whoever works with you in your business. You invite only those folks. Not everybody else has access to that. So we make sure that the views and the connections are only available to the people who should have access to it.
Yeah, great. And that's always important, right? Because when it comes down to it, as we mentioned, you have these numerous data sources within the organization. You can become somewhat complacent about who has access and what type of access they have. You may have sensitive data stored in spreadsheets, for example. You may have data sitting in an open database that has full CRUD access to any and all users. The ability to refine that through a tool like DreamFactory, and then the fact that Glances itself doesn't store that information is important as well. We found that we're very similar in that regard to Glances. The majority of our deployments are on-premise. We don't store data by default. DreamFactory supports caching layers, absolutely. It supports local caching, but by default, we don't store that info. So it really does come down to the ability of the user to use the security controls available in the platform to lock down that access and to customize that access. So the security really becomes ingrained in the platform as opposed to managing the data itself. Yeah.
And the back on that too, a big benefit of having a platform like Glances as part of your organization for eliminating the need to move data around and having that same data available and stored on 100 different systems. You know, it's a typical user uses 90 apps a month, which again seems a little high. That means that data, if you're integrating, it could live on dozens of different systems. So that's a big security nightmare, right? So that data is now can become available to anybody who has access to your CRM, your accounting system, your chat, your email. But with Glances, it's only available in one database, and it's pulling only from that database. So you lessen your security risk by not having that same data propagated across your different systems.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's about, right? Lessening the security risk, identifying the risk event, applying appropriate control measures to decrease that likelihood or indeed the subsequent consequence of that security breach. So yeah, that's great. So I think we can absolutely address the fact that both Glances and DreamFactory not only connects the enterprise, but ensures that connectivity is secure by default from the start. And we sponsor that enterprise security because really that's where we're moving. The proliferation of APIs, the proliferation of enterprise data sources, and the amount of data that's being stored by any given individual, security is absolute necessity. And the ability to identify that from the start when you're building these connections is absolutely essential. So, Jason, that's all I've got today. Is there anything in particular you'd like to go through to highlight any key features of Glances? Because I really think we've now drilled down to the core benefits of having a unified enterprise view. We've walked through the ease of connecting those applications through a tool like Glances. And then subsequently, we've spoken about how easy it is to then connect other data sources via DreamFactory. And one of the key quotes I think you'd pick up on there is for when a data source doesn't have a native API, use DreamFactory, right? Have the ability to connect DreamFactory to that data source to instantly spin up a fully documented, Swagger documented, secure API endpoint for consumption. Is of benefit to everyone. So that's where I think we really got to.
Yep, and in a way that it's an internal systems dream come true, where you make the data available through an API, but in a way where you still can lock down and make only the data you want available to all your users. And that's really the power of DreamFactory. It's a very secure way of doing it, very low risk way. And my goodness, it's super fast to do. It still blows my mind. Literally 5 minutes, we had it connected with Glances and getting benefit for our own company, saving us tons of time every week. So And that's the big thing too with DreamFactory Glances. You know, you're becoming more efficient with your team, and you gain that unified single customer view that's super beneficial. You could potentially reduce licensing costs, but it's just you're becoming more productive. You're knowing everything about a person, but also, you know, our next step here is you're going to know everything that you need to do every day, and just it's just so much you can do when you get DreamFactory working with Glances.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that next iteration. I think that'll be really cool. That personal management side of the house. And you're right. You know, I step up in the morning. I've got Slack. I've got email. I've got any number of other alerts from my CRM for activities to follow up on. Absolutely, having something like Glances that's just a really quick, clean, simple view for me to access would be great. And to your point about that rapid development of APIs, Jason and I, Jason Gilmore, my CTO, and I will be running a seminar as part of DreamCon 2020 regarding connecting and securing the enterprise via APIs, implementing an API-driven strategy, and also talking about data mesh. Data mesh is an interesting function of DreamFactory, in which you can combine multiple SQL data stores to have a unified JSON response. So I invite our followers to go across and check out that presentation after this one. Jason, I thank you so much for your time today. It's been really beneficial to go through Glances and DreamFactory working together. I'm absolutely excited to see that next step of where Glances may go to. And yeah, really keen to see how DreamFactory and Glances can continue to work together in securing and connecting those enterprise applications.
And thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to the next session here for sure.
Great. Thanks, Jason. Cheers, mate.